Richard Liu here at nzentrepreneur.co.nz, and today on Innovation Nation. I'm absolutely stoked to be joined by Erin Wansborough. Erin is the CEO at Soda Inc. Up in Hamilton. Erin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thanks, Richard.
So Erin, can you just start off by telling us a bit about yourself and your role at Soda, and indeed the role of Soda and what it is you guys are all about?
So at Soda, we help entrepreneurs and business owners grow their business. I know that sounds really simplistic, but it's the way in which we do that. We do it in a way which helps them get their mindset right. We help them with the capability, the tools that they need, but in particular, we help them with a really deep and diverse network to get the job done. One thing I'll point out is we actually help businesses regardless of where they are across New Zealand. You don't actually have to come to Hamilton or work in Hamilton to get our support services. So we work with businesses regardless of where they are in New Zealand and match them with a bespoke team to really move their business forward, depending on what their industry is and also what their capability is that they bring or their background. So it's helping businesses grow and those business owners grow on their terms.
Would it be right to say that you offer a startup incubation programs? Or would you class yourself as an incubator or accelerator? Or
I mean, those definitions don't really mean a lot to me, but yes, we are an incubator and an accelerator. It's to help, people think of those buckets. We help the entrepreneur or the business owner get going depending on where their age and stage is. So we help people who are curious just to explore entrepreneurship. We help people who've got an idea in their head and have no idea whether it can be monetized or how might I get started. So for example, through the Lean Canvas process. We help businesses that have already got market validation or some revenue, but are looking at how do I scale this beyond just myself doing everything to actually bringing in capability. And we also help businesses with their raising capital if they're looking at how do I get to that next stage. So it's across that whole spectrum. So yes, acceleration through to incubation.
Right, awesome. And can you just tell us a little bit about, I guess, the structure in terms of stakeholders behind Soda Inc.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
So we're 100% owned by a shareholder, which is Wintech. We have significant funding from Callaghan Innovation as a founder incubator, and hence what we do to help entrepreneurs who are born global or with ambitious and scalable novel ideas to get their businesses up and running and moving them forward. We also have corporate partners ASB and Gallagher who give us both expertise as well as financial support. And in addition, we have Deloitte, Minter Ellison Rudd Watt, Norris Ward McKinnon, who are three corporate partners that help us significantly with expertise from their partners and part of our panels and our feedback with businesses and assessment, but also with some pro bono work in the actual programs we deliver for businesses we're incubating. So it helps us do a lot more with the funding that we are supported through our stakeholder and also through Callaghan Innovation to invest directly into that business. I'll also note that we're a not-for-profit, so everything that we earn, we funnel back into helping the founder or the business grow. And so we look for whenever we have an exit or if ever we have any payment made for another program that we might be delivering, it goes straight back into delivering more programs for our founders.
Just for a bit of context, can you just give us a bit of an idea about what traditionally has, what's been the driving force behind the Waikato sort of economy?
The Waikato has about 450,000 or above people in the region, of which Hamilton, which is just obviously one small part of that, has about 170,000 inhabitants. We're the fourth largest city in New Zealand, and from a GDP perspective, we were the third fastest growing in 2019 compared to the 15 regions that looks at. Historically, we've been known for our dairy and thoroughbred kind of heritage. And there's a lot of strength existing in the existing economy that leverages off that. However, we are also very strong in agritech and manufacturing. If you look at where the growth was in 2019, you were seeing a lot of investment and growth in this region. particularly in real estate and rental and investment in property. So that's sort of showing that we've got a growth in this one of the fastest growing cities, and then also so therefore the investment in the infrastructure and residential. With that, we're finding there's opportunity, when I say around the agri-tech basis, is how do we further leverage adding value from the food chain, and also from a manufacturing perspective, how we can leverage that heritage or that strength that we have in this region. But the other thing that I think is very clear that there's opportunity is around the Māori economy. So here in the Waikato, it's the heart of Kingitanga, so it's where we've got Tūranga Waiwai and Ngarawahia. So there's a significant opportunity and growth happening in the Māori economy and what that might look like in future years. And where Hamilton or the Waikato is based, and then right alongside the Bay of Plenty, there's significant progress happening around leadership, capability building, and business strength across the Māori economy in this particular hub. So I think when I look forward into the next horizon, you will see agri-tech, manufacturing, technology in general really coming to the fore from this region. You're seeing a growth of talent coming into the region in addition to what already exists. And so I think it's going to, I think we're very lucky to be where we are as a region, given the challenges that other regions are facing and other parts of the world, particularly globally, that we've actually been quite resilient and quite lucky to have what we have here.
Speaking of resilience, can you paint a picture for us of sort of, from your point of view anyway, what all went down when COVID kicked in and we went from lockdown 3 to lockdown 4 in the space of 2 days. What was sort of going through your head at the time?
I think like anyone, the uncertainty and the anxiety and that just sort of presence that everyone felt, not only personally, but across the business community, the unknown of how long we're in lockdown, what that might mean. So that, I think that threw everyone out, didn't it? It really did throw us out. But it did also make, as in crisis, which is, how do you focus on, well, what can we do? What are the gems? What do we do next? Or what's plan B? What might worst case scenario be? How would we respond to that? So it really did bring to the fore the need to focus on core priorities, removing waste, consolidating business, to really think about. So we found with the businesses we support, two things happen. So we have one side of our business, which is around promoting and running a co-working space to bring businesses together. So obviously, under level 4, we could not operate that business. So we have 140 people that we accommodate in our co-working space. Straight away, we put forward a rental holiday, 100% rental holiday, because these are small and medium business owners who, they were feeling what we were feeling and had no idea what would happen next. So we wanted to give them certainty that they didn't have to worry about covering their rent. And we also wanted to know, from our perspective, when the lockdown was returned, that by being doing the right thing as a landlord, if we could do that, we would hope that they would also be interested in, staying with us once we came out of lockdown. We've actually found, just you have asked about COVID, we are at 100% capacity. We've had more demand than we can keep up with. And part of that is some of businesses escaping from their larger leases and also the move to work from home. So we're finding the co-working small office space, which we actually felt as a business might be having some challenging times this year, has just bounced back far stronger than we thought. But back to the businesses and the entrepreneurs that we serve. We found there was a heavy hit, obviously, in the hospitality and tourism business. So, for example, Hobbiton's a key one here, based in the Waikato, if we look at this region. We have found, though, we offer some business support service or business growth services for small, medium business as well. We have found that they've managed to bounce back a little because of the domestic tourism. But particularly it's around the wellness and the resilience, or whatever the words are that we will throw around at the moment. It did throw fear through ourselves personally and as an economy, didn't it? So it's seeing how people have managed to understand their strengths, understand what really matters, plan, but then the community that comes with it. So we have seen an increase in the response and interest in coming to networking events, being parts of cohorts, working through workshops, on Zoom meetings. It's more around sharing the burden and knowing you're not the only one who might be going through this. That seems to have really helped people get back up and be positive and excited about what 2021 might hold, rather than feeling like they have no control.
Absolutely, and the numbers I've heard anecdotally around new businesses being started by Kiwis, since all this went down, we're at record levels. So just showing there that adversity and those big challenges, are forcing people to maybe think about how they can be more enterprising themselves.
During the actual lockdown, Callaghan Innovation, Soda, Creative HQ, Coin South, and I'm forgetting some other key parties, please do excuse me, but we came together in response in about 10 days to run a Hack the Crisis. But the reason I bring this forward, so a hackathon over a weekend, is we were stunned by the engagement, and it just blown away. There was I think there were 900 ideas submitted from across New Zealand as to things that might help, and there are 4 categories, New Zealand's recovery from COVID, but also from a wellness and social perspective, some ideas. From that, 50 businesses went through, or teams went through this program. That just shows huge engagement and resilience and innovation that that exists in these tough times, and people wanting to be part of the solution. The other thing we found post-COVID is we have run 2 seed grant or competitions online, attracting businesses, if they're there, or entrepreneurs who are there who wanted to go through a competition, come out of the woodwork and come into the soda competition. We've run those twice. We have again been astounded by the amount of ideas and innovation coming forward, as you say, people starting business. That we've just seen a spike in people being prepared to jump in and have a go, and the quality of what's coming through in these in this pipeline is quite mature. We're expecting maybe an idea that hasn't really been fleshed out, but there's some of that. But out of the first one we did, we had 70 responses within 2 weeks. Of those, 20 were really strong businesses, as in potentially could become very viable businesses. And the others, they learned a lot through the coaching feedback. They realized where the business model was broken, or they're introduced to others who might help them, with that next phase of shaping up what they might do. So that's been really positive. And in addition to that, as a result of this sort of visibility of such a both Hack the Crisis and our seed grants, we've recently started to work with the Ministry of Social Development, because they also help people who are looking to start their own business or become self-employed, think about how they might do that. So they're starting to work with us now to run a program to help businesses or people who are looking to get into self-employment think about how you might approach that, in the right way. So they're sort of examples of things that are coming out that I think are a result of COVID, and very positive. Making people aware that there are people here to help them, who've been there, done that, scars on their back, were like them once upon a time, and want to actually help them move forward. So that generosity is becoming very evident.
Absolutely. And so you mentioned a few highlights there. Anything else that stands out for you in 2020 as, the silver lining to the rather dark cloud?
I feel it's a little overused, but definitely that community, and, looking outside of just your own lane at times to think, how might I generously help another business? So from Soda's perspective, we had regional partners within 3 different areas, and we found that we were working with them, but we hadn't really looked at how could we give them more, and vice versa, around how we run our business models, what we've learned, you know, just really opening up the kimono or lifting the curtain to generously share everything that we know that might help them go faster, really open source, I suppose. And we've found we've received far more back from our partners than we've ever given. And so there's this real tight team, this tight village feeling that I think is a huge silver lining in those relationships compared to how we might have been a year ago, which were very trusting and helpful, but we were only thinking about a particular initiative which we were working on together, rather than how might we actually really help you. So it's perhaps we've become very aligned in purpose. You know, we're here for the founder, we're here to help them go faster. It's not about us, it's about them. And that seems to be unifying across all these communities we're working with. So I think our collaboration has become very tangible, very real, and a hell of a lot of fun, because these are some very cool people we get to work with. Yeah.
So thinking about some of the businesses you may have been working with over the last year or so, are there any sort of that spring to mind in terms of, I don't know, exemplifying that resilience or the innovation, or just, you know, that you think are doing interesting things?
The reason I absolutely love what Soda does, and I'm sure anyone who works in the space may say the same thing, is you are so privileged, absolutely so privileged to work with or alongside these entrepreneurs, you know, with their crazy ass dream, right? It's a privilege. But it's also very, very scary for them, right? It's, you know, everything's on the line. That, you know, that's you know, it's not motherhood apple pie. It is tough stuff. So it all comes down to the execution and executing on the right things. And then it's also making sure you're leveraging that, you know, the right talent, the right people to help you get stuff done, because there's a lot of average out there. There's a lot of vanilla, right? So how do you help not, you know, make less mistakes as that founder? So to answer your question, the thing that I absolutely love with how Soda works is the variety of people we get to help. So we help, we care as much about that founder and that person and what they bring, whether they're 12-year-old or 65-year-old, and we've had both of those spectrum, you know, what knowledge and skills they have, whether they're a technical expert or whether they just, you know, have commercial strength. You know, their passion and drivers is really what gets us out of bed. So that's the context I then put around. I have, if I think over the last year, there are 3 particular businesses we've helped through our incubation process that have just been phenomenal. So one of them is, the founder is Donna Marie Ryder, and she set up a business called Tania AI. Her software is a way in which to make you really enjoy your financials as a business owner, and she's Xero accredited. She's just launched a beta in the US, and it's just going to be phenomenal. But the thing I'm in love with more than this business opportunity and the scale of which it is and what she's achieved with so little is the person who's driving it. You know, she is knocking it out of the park. She knows why she's doing it, and her key reason is to also give back and create employment for others. She's got a big backstory that, you know, that many would use as a reason not to achieve, whereas she's turned that around, and that's her driver. And she is a phenomenal CE and founder. The other one is FilmQuest. So FilmQuest is actually not based in the Waikato, or they're not from the Waikato. They're from Dunedin, and they help with tourism. So it's called Journey Beyond the Screen. So they help people who are raving fans about, you know, whether you're Lord of the Rings or whether you like Game of Thrones and you want to go to a particular area or a particular scene was shot at, they really help you relive that moment. So they're going through a time of really trying to think about, given the challenges with international travel, how, you know, who is their customer and what that might look like, but just a phenomenal team, and passionate. And the third one that I like also came through a connection with Petri Dish and startup Dunedin, which was Cafe Logic. And you know how I was talking about earlier, you know, we only touch them and then we help them for a particular part and we absolutely transform them, but then they, you know, they go to the next leg of their journey. And that's Cafe Logic, and that's a benchtop coffee roasting system. So you've just seen me describe variety, right? We've got voice activated, you know, interpretation of your balance sheet to make balance, you know, financials fun. through to roasting green coffee beans and being a connoisseur, you know, and making your friends have FOMO that you've got the latest, greatest kit in your kitchen, through to tourism, which is just, you know, it's a challenging time. So very privileged with the variety, the innovation, the opportunity that comes through from a business perspective, but it is the founders who sit behind this, and you know, they absolutely have to execute. So each of those businesses are driven by very tenacious, very ambitious storytelling founders, but they're open to see where their model is broken. They want feedback, they want support. So they've got that growth mindset. You know, it can be an overused phrase, but they really are looking at what do I need to grow, to go further, but they're also looking at, apart from that horizon, what has to happen in the next 90 days to really move this forward, the execution piece, and how do I hustle, and who can I use that's done this before to move this forward. And I think that's the secret that Soda brings to the table, is this deep network of entrepreneurs and founders who have been there, done that, and want to give back to help someone like them.
And of course, people can see a lot of these stories coming out through our Innovation Nation series.
And that's just this year.
Yeah. So 2021, anything in particular that you're excited about? You got any interesting initiatives rolling out, or projects, plans?
Yeah, in the startup entrepreneurship area, we are turning up the dial on these startup seed grants that I mentioned. We ran twice after COVID. We've found they've just made people aware that there is this support available for them, and given them the tools that they seem to be seeking as to how do I get this idea out of my head and really flesh it to, you know, a concept, or how do you help me connect to who I need to connect to, you know, with the right pitch, to get the investment that I need and the smart money that I need. So we're finding it's a great way to identify those opportunities that Soda believes it can help, but basically to ensure that we can help way more people move things forward. But it also helps us with our ability to connect and really work collaboratively, depending on where these businesses come from, with that wider network, because we are so deeply entrenched. So when I said to you we had 50 businesses come through our first cohort, they were from across New Zealand. And so because we've got quite a deep collaborative system happening, we feel we can offer far more for them. So I'm really excited to see this learning around true collaboration and true sharing of working alongside these businesses, you know, continuing to evolve. Our actual tactical initiatives that we're looking at, so we're doing more of that, you know, seed grants. We're looking forward to a really strong pipeline coming through. We're also looking to see is how might we work more closely. I mentioned around Māori economy. We've had several groups come to us saying what you do and how you do it really fits with the way we want to work. So I'd like to explore putting around the right sort of tikanga, how might we work alongside some of these groups to help with the business capability or the startup journey they're looking at pulling together. So I'm starting to have some sort of strategic discussions around how that might work. So we're looking at running far more programs, but it's a pipeline. That's the key thing. So that startup seed grant seems to be, you know, on the money. And how might we therefore link them into the whole New Zealand network rather than just Soda? Soda's really the front door.
So you've been with Soda for a few years now, and more recently moved your entire family down to Hamilton. What is it you love about the Waikato?
I think like any part of New Zealand, it's just, you know, it's beautiful. It's the environment. We're close to the West Coast beach or the Coromandel, or, you know, the trees around Hamilton. Just I just always flabbergasted. It's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful place to live. I also like, as I was mentioning before, there's a lot of investment and infrastructure going up. So there's a bit of a refresh happening and a bit of vibrancy coming back to the CBD. It's losing, well, at least to Hamiltonians anyway, that boring sticker that it might have had, you know, back in the day, as, you know, why would you stop there? There's some really great sort of initiatives and culture coming, you know, getting underway there. Personally, I love the ease of it. I also love Auckland, but the ease of being able to, you know, everything is so quick. You know, the commute is always just a few minutes away. absolutely relishing in that after living and working in Auckland for 25 years. That was a challenge.
And just as a parting shot, really, anything on your mind that you'd like to share with people watching, be they from Hamilton, Waikato, or around New Zealand?
I think back to, was it Dame Whene Cooper said it, but it's a Māori proverb, what's the most important thing in the world? He tangata, he tangata, he tangata, and we've learned that this year, right? And that's my point around focusing on the founder. That's the most important, and supporting them. Focusing on the business owner having to pivot if they've been in hospitality, tourism, whatever, or just dealing with uncertainty. It comes down to that person and the people that they work with. When I think about New Zealand, when we all went into lockdown, it was that community and looking after people that you wouldn't have even said hello to. And I don't want us to lose that. I really don't want to lose that. And it's all about the people.
And that was Erin Wansborough, CEO at Soda Inc. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Richard.